It does. It frustrates everyone. And as I've listened and watched this play out over these last several days, I've just been amazed. The president has stepped up to do what he needs to do. I'm thankful. The people of California need to be thankful that he is stepping in as he did with the National Guard. Just watching it unfold has been fascinating, because I watch Democratic leaders out there in the state standing up and talking about that we've got this all under control. There's no problems here. This really wouldn't happen if it weren't for Donald Trump sending the National Guard in. And the whole time they're saying that, I'm watching 6, 8, 10, 12 police cars going up in flames, and one of them exploding right there on the split screen. And I'm going, how can you claim that you have it under control? And we see what is happening here. So it really has been a farce. Thankfully, all of the American public, in watching this play out, has seen with their own eyes. And to be honest with you, it just really paints the picture of what we've really been told over the last 5 years. Don't believe your lying eyes, when it came to the previous administration. And now we're seeing out there in California, they're trying to use the same mindset.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I have no doubt that there are leftist anarchists out there. There are just people in this world who want to watch things burn. But as you were saying, I think that the American people look at this much like they did the BLM riots in 2020, and I think that it damages that movement. Do you anticipate that there is going to be that type of public outcry against this, like we saw after the BLM and the George Floyd riots?
Well, I hope so, Amanda. I mean, I really think the American people are ready for common sense. And I think if anybody remembers those days as we watched those riots, and we watched Minneapolis burn, and we watched that whole police station go up in flames, and everybody was ordered just to stand down or stand back and watch it go up in flames, that is very concerning. And I think the president wanted to make sure that we didn't see that again. And I listened to the police chief of Los Angeles late last night doing a press conference, and he himself admitted in that press conference that they were overwhelmed, that his own policemen were just trying to protect themselves, and they really weren't able to make the arrests necessarily because they had just been on defense with the rioters. So when the National Guard, he also made it clear that they were just really there to protect the federal property, the federal building, and he also made it clear that there weren't enough National Guardsmen there to have been a cause for any of this escalation. And I thought that was very telling when you just listened to the chief of police of Los Angeles talking.
Yeah, really important. So these things don't happen organically usually. There looks to be some organization, some funding, some money, maybe some foreign influence. Certainly Mexico's president seems to be egging it on. How important is it for Congress and law enforcement at some point to find out who funds and pushes this sort of riotous violence on the American people?
Well, I do think it's important for Congress to raise those questions and do that, looking into it and finding out what we can. I also think the Justice Department will play an important role in trying to see these kind of things, because, again, these ICE agents are there simply carrying out their responsibility. Again, the chief of police, I'll just reference as I listened to him last night, he said the ICE agents were doing their job. And of course, for the state and local, because of the limitations that have been put on them by the state of California, they can't assist or don't help. But again, ICE is doing their job there. And for these people, these rioters who again, I believe a lot of them are paid, and he talked about that also, that it's very clear that Antifa had shown up. People that have done this for a long period of time understand there's a pattern that emerges, and usually something that starts on the first day, you see it on the second day, there's almost a little bit of a change, and by the third day, an even bigger change. And that's the sign that these folks have come in and are doing their thing. And I agree with you. We saw it in Charlotte years ago. That's right. Right there in my own hometown. So I understand, and I think it is important that we call these folks into account.
Sir, Democrats tried to impeach Donald Trump for inciting a riot, but in Los Angeles, you've got these pallets of cinder blocks that have been placed places, and the funding coming from California's own taxpayers. Should those people held accountable via charges of coordinating an insurrection?
Oh, I believe that they certainly can find them. By all means, they should be. That was the other thing we were seeing when they were telling us they had everything under control. I was watching people throw scooters over bridges and busting up highway patrol cars there in California. And if the governor had a lick of sense, he would simply step up and say, we're not going to tolerate this for our own state, and call that into account himself. But instead, he's wanting to somehow pick a fight with the president. He's wanting to create some kind of big media moment for himself. But I'm telling you, I think he's making very unwise decisions on a number of different fronts here.
So you're spending a lot of time, hard work on the rescissions package, a real opportunity, the first big opportunity to start pulling back spending that was dished out earlier that didn't go to good causes or wasn't spent. Do you think it'll get through, and does it start an avalanche of spending cuts down the road?
Well, I'll say yes, and I hope yes to number one. I do believe it's going to get through, and yes to number two. I sure hope it is just the first of a number of rescission packages that the White House is going to send up the hill. Listen, we've got an opportunity here this week to do what I consider to be the softball that is just being pitched right across the plate. And we've got a Republican majority in the House. We have the Republican majority in the Senate, and we ought to be able to just whack that ball as it comes across the plate and knock it out of the park. And this should be an easy lift for Republicans in the House and the Senate. And I would be shocked of any Republican that doesn't stand up and support these. How you call yourself a Republican when you are really seeing the opportunity to stand up for the American taxpayer. We were sent here to Washington to do government differently. In November of 24, the nation rose up, put Donald Trump back in the White House, gave us the Senate, maintained the House, and this is our opportunity with this first rescission package. We not only have reconciliation moving along and is now over in the Senate getting the job done, but this $9.4 billion, I think, is the first step to really letting the American people know that we're going to do what they said. We just came back from the week past, and the weekend we were in the North Carolina Republican Convention. Yeah. And while we were there, many of my constituents were asking, why is it only $9.4 billion? I mean, there's so much more that needs to be done. And I was having to say there is a lot more to be done, and I believe it will be done. This is just the first package, call it a test case, if you will, that I think the White House wants to see if we mean business up here and are going to be able to follow through on this America First agenda.
I think those constituents and everyone in America would be happy if this was just the start of a trend, which it may very well be. Congressman, great honor to have you on. I know how hard you're working on this. Great to have you on the show today.
It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.